Hi guys, I hope you are doing well. It is absolutely freezing, so I am bundled up today. And today is the first Advent, and I have to tell you, I cannot believe as long and as hard and sometimes as slow as this year was, I cannot believe that we are heading into Christmas already. It feels that at times this year has dragged. I know there have been these memes that people have said we've had like 20 years in this 1 year. But at the same time, it seems to have gone like that. And here we are. It's first Advent, and it feels like it's just crept up out of nowhere. And we're into December. Now, this December's actually going to be a big one. 2020 is this energy that is being given all the way through the year. Well, December is no different. She is going to give all the way through to the end of the year because we start off December with a lunar eclipse. Then we go 14 days later into a solar eclipse. Eclipses often come in 2s and 3s. So here we are. We've got a lunar eclipse and a solar eclipse to end this year. And then, of course, as we move closer towards Christmas, what we've got the grand conjunction, which is when Saturn and Jupiter actually catch up with each other and they come very, very close in conjunction with each other. Now they do this every 20 years, but this one is different because they're doing it in a way that they haven't done since 1623. So as we get closer to that event, we are most certainly going to be talking about that. So please stay tuned for these videos. December is a big month. What were we expecting? 2020 was going to leave quietly. No hopes of that. December is a big month, and it kicks off tomorrow with a lunar eclipse. We are hours away from it. Now, according to Vedic astrology, eclipses are not auspicious events. I know that they are really spectacular to look at, and they really, really are interesting, and we want to have a look and see what's going on. But according to Vedic astrology, it's not considered auspicious. And the reason why, you need to think of what it is that energy represents. So the moon represents our emotions. It represents our subconscious. It represents our emotional equilibrium. It would govern our sacral, our solar plexus, our heart chakras. And when it is in eclipse, it's almost as if all of that energy becomes overshadowed and it becomes overwhelmed or overshadowed. And so that natural light and that natural emotional vibrational frequency is dampened. And we need to be aware that with a lunar eclipse, 3 hours before it starts and 3 hours after, we need to be in a space where we are circumspect about our energy. And what that means is that you want to spend some time just balancing your own energy, being in a space where maybe you meditate, maybe you are gentle with yourself, maybe you just give yourself a little bit of extra self-nourishment and self-care. The Vedas tell us this is not a good time to operate heavy machinery, so if you can stay away from that, that's good. It's also not advised to eat. Now, of course, this lunar eclipse is happening UK time in the morning. So if you're in that central belt, it's going to be between breakfast and lunchtime. So it's a bit of a hard ask to say don't eat, but if you do, please make it light foods, easily digestible foods, because during an eclipse, food, the nutritional value of food is also eclipsed. And we just want to make sure that we're not taxing our digestive systems. Stay away from too much caffeine. Might be difficult first thing in the morning. Stay away from too much alcohol, too much processed foods during this time. Now, as I say, if you're in that central belt, that UK time belt, UTC time belt, it's going to be happening in the morning. Australia time, it's going to be in your afternoon. If you're on the US side, then it's going to be happening during the night. So unless you're on the US side, the rest of us aren't going to see very much at all, because it's going to be broad daylight. And what we might see, if the skies are clear, what we might see is that the moon gets a little bit reddish and it gets a little bit dark, but we're not going to see too much of a phenomena or too much of a visual phenomena happening, because of course for most of us it's happening during the daytime. Now, why is this particular eclipse considered to be important? Well, it's happening in Vedic astrology. It's happening in the sign of Taurus, which is where we have Rahu dancing at the moment. Now, Taurus, as we know, it is this very, very feminine energy. It is all about abundance. It is all about nutrition. It's all about food. It's all about material comforts. It is exceptionally feminine, very, very graceful, very, very gracious energy. And so what we have is we have the moon that is moving into this space. Now here's where it gets really interesting. In Vedic astrology, we talk about nakshatras, we talk about lunar mansions. And I want you to imagine that as the moon is going on her journey, she kind of goes through different aspects or different energies as she's going through. And the energy that she's going into what is called the Rohini Nakshatra, the Rohini lunar mansion. And that is situated in the sign of Taurus. And here's what it actually indicates. It is all about the food. It's all about the abundance. It's all about the materialism. It's all about the sensuality. It is all about our material comforts. In other words, it's Taurus on steroids. So if you think of everything to do with that Taurian energy, it's Taurus on steroids. It is this absolute quintessential Taurian energy that the moon is going into her eclipse in. And here's the message that we need to take out of this. We're being asked tomorrow specifically to meditate on this, is what nutrition are we feeding ourselves? And not just physically. You know, typically when we think of nutrition, we think about food and the food that we're eating. We're being asked, what diet are we feeding ourselves physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially, and to ask ourselves, how's our diet working for us? Which, if you think of the year that we've just been through, it's a very appropriate aspect to meditate on. And we're being asked to become very, very aware. What is our relationship to abundance? What is our relationship to financial abundance, spiritual abundance, mental, emotional, physical abundance? What is our relationship? What is our expectation? What is our desire? What is it that we want? We're being asked to be very, very clear. Now, if you think of the year that a lot of people have had, our relationship to abundance this year has been really, really pushed. It's been under threat. A lot of people have been quite worried about where the next bit of money is coming from. Are they going to be okay from a physical perspective? Can they keep the roof over their heads and so on? And so this energy says, are we in a space here where we have kind of gone into that doom and gloom? We've gone into poverty consciousness. We've gone into fear and we've gone into panic about money. And what is it doing to our reality? It's an incredibly important question for us to ask, especially after the year we've had. But particularly before we go into the grand conjunction on the 21st of December. We are being asked to be very, very aware what we are feeding off. Now, you know, the media this year has kind of whipped us all up into a frenzy. What are we feeding off? What are we putting into our heads? What is it that we are digesting? What is it that we are eating? What is it we are consuming? Whether that is the media, whether that is fake news, whether that is all of this chaos that we are seeing happening around us. What are we feeding off? And what is it doing to our digestive systems? I have to tell you, and I know a lot of you probably felt exactly the same way, that I just got to the point where it's like, I can't do this anymore. I can't do social media. I can't do the news. I really just don't want to listen to any news anymore. And I started to really, really curate what I was listening to and what I was reading this year, because I found that it put me into a space of stress and distress. And so this is the very strong message that we have of this energy, this lunar eclipse tomorrow. If at some point you can just sit down and you can meditate on this whole energy of abundance, on this whole energy of sensuality, on this whole energy of material and comfort, and what your state is right now, and what is your expectation. If you can sit and just spend some time so that we can clear out any debris that just accumulated from this year, that we just it's not a pattern that serves us. You know how sometimes we look at the food that we eat and we go, you know, I don't know how it happened, but I'm eating a whole load of processed foods and I just don't know how it happened. And I need to kind of push myself back into organic eating again. It's the same thing here. What is the organic, nutritional value of what we are feeding off? Now, the flip side of this energy is it can be monumentally stubborn. If you've got any Taurians around you, you know that this energy can be monumentally stubborn. It can be monumentally stuck, and it can build itself such a routine and such a rut that it just doesn't ever get out of it and just walks this rut over and over and over again. And of course, that is the next question that we have to ask in this lunar eclipse, is what is the rut that I have built for myself? What is the rut or the road that I am just repeatedly walking on? You know, they say that the best prediction of the future is to look at the past. If I've done this before and I'm doing it now, this is what I'm going to create in the future. This asks us be very, very mindful. And again, appropriate, because 2020 very definitely pushed us into some interesting coping strategies. I actually said to somebody, I sat down in this chair in March and I haven't moved. That's a very Taurian quality, to be in a space and to keep doing it again and again and again and again. Feel that it's not working for you, but not doing anything about it. So we have to be in this very, very clear space of, where am I stubborn? Where am I walking a well-worn path that actually doesn't serve me? Where am I forcing myself and I'm just walking a rut and I'm just not moving? And I am, without forethought, but with enormous stubbornness, continuing to walk that path. So two very, very powerful energies to meditate on. It is this energy here of abundance, nutrition. What are we feeding ourselves? It is this message here of stubbornness. And what am I clinging on to, or not even aware that I'm clinging on to? I just damn well do it because it's kind of happens by rote, you know, and I'm on autopilot. So during the eclipse, and even as you're listening to this little video, as we move into the eclipse tomorrow morning, UTC time as we move into that eclipse, just for the whole day if you can. Just keep these two questions in your mind. What is my abundance consciousness? What am I feeding myself? Sorry, three questions. And where am I stuck and not getting out of it? This is a very, very powerful energy to finish the lunar eclipses for 2020. I think you'll agree. It's a very important question or series of questions to ask ourselves after the year that we've had. So that's what is on the agenda for tomorrow. 3 hours before an eclipse, start being gentle with yourself. Up to 3 hours afterwards. The Jyotishis always recommend, please don't make any critical business decisions. Don't go off and sign that multi-million-dollar deal tomorrow during an eclipse, because we actually want that to pass before we do it. Rather push it over to the next day. It's not going to kill anything. Just push it over to the next day. Unless you absolutely have to. Don't make massive, massive, massive decisions during an eclipse. Push them into the afternoon, push them into the next day. You will feel far better. You might feel a little bit tired. You might feel a little bit overwhelmed. You might feel a little bit emotionally off. Remember that a lunar eclipse, particularly sacral chakra, which is all our relationships, solar plexus, which is our emotional engine room, and our heart chakra, which is our space of self-understanding and compassion. These are all being obscured during the eclipse. So be gentle with yourself, be gentle with others. This too will pass. So I'm going to leave it there. If you found this useful, please hit like, please share it with your friends. I will be back on and off during December because it is such a big month. So I'm going to be back talking about the solar eclipse and then most definitely talking about the grand conjunction. Before I go, because this year has been bloody awful on so many levels, I feel the need for me to be in a space where I do a cleansing. Before we get to the grand conjunction, before we get into 2021, I really do feel the need to do a cleansing. And so I would like to invite you to come with me on a 3-day cleansing journey. It's absolutely free. And on day 1, we're going to do some cleansing and some healing of us, of our energy system, because it's been a bit battered and bruised through 2020, I think you'll agree. On day 2, we're going to cleanse our offices and our workspace because we want to get rid of some of the debris that this year has created. And on day 3, what we're going to do is let's bring some of the harmony and the peace back into our homes. I have this need to do it in my space. I would love for you to join me. The link is down below this video. Please have a look, see if it resonates, and if it does, come along with us before the grand conjunction, before 2021 hits our doorstep. Let's cleanse the debris of 2020 so that we can all take a deep, sacred breath. I'm going to leave it there. I wish you the most beautiful, beautiful Advent Sunday, and have a gentle day today. Have a peaceful, self-care, self-nurturing day throughout the eclipse. And then all systems go again from the day after, and I'll be back with you soon. Thanks for watching. Bye for now. Oh, and don't forget to sign up for the course. See you then. Bye.